All right, so we're back here for part two of this weekly crossbar episode, kind of running through all the playoff brackets between Nassau and Suffolk. So, part two, we have the Nassau brackets, and we'll start with Nassau girls in Class A. And so, a little bit of time here before the A's get started. The first couple of playoff games will be on Friday, the 17th, where you'll have the Dalers hosting Oceanside and Port Washington hosting Baldwin. And the winner of those two matchups, you see here on the brackets, Farmingdale or Oceanside will play Syosset, and Baldwin or Port Washington will play Massapequa in the semis.
Yeah, I'm going chalk. I'm going chalk here. For those that don't know what chalk is,
Mm.
I'm going full seeds. I'm expecting the Dallers to beat Oceanside and Port to beat Baldwin, and then Pequot to beat Port and Syosset to beat Farmingdale, and then Syosset, Pequot in the finals, and then all bets are off. Giving the edge to Syosset because they won the first matchup, but it was close, right? The Pequot Syosset game.
Yeah, it was a 13-12 game.
Yeah, so that game is a flip of a coin. Um, Experience-wise, probably gives Syosset the edge just because they have
Yeah,
more upperclassmen, but
yes.
that's a flip of the coin. The Dalers last year they shocked everybody and made it to the finals, losing to Pequot, and Pequot was obviously lost in the state championship in what OT.
Yeah, in double OT actually, I believe. So either double or triple. There were multiple overtimes.
Oh, crazy, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna see a battle here. The chalk when they get into the semis on Tuesday, which is a week from tomorrow. And those games will be at Adelphi. That's where Nassau's got, in my opinion, has it right. You could go, you could watch two semis with the A's, two semis with the D's. The next day, two semis with the B's, two semis with the C's. I'm
Hmm.
a college coach. I want to recruit these kids. I'm sitting at one venue, watching kids and recruiting 8 great teams. Great, great idea. Good job. Kudos to the brass of Nassau putting this together.
Yeah, definitely got it right.
100%. 100%. Let's look at the B's. The B's, I think, are pretty chalk too, right? 1-2.
Yeah, so your 1-2. So your one is GC, and then your two is Long Beach. But they get started on Wednesday. So in just 2 days, the Bees get started. And you have you have more playoff games in the Bees. So it's not like they get buys like the top two teams.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterfinals will probably go chalk. The game that's probably most competitive will be the Calhoun MacArthur game.
Yeah, they played to an 8-6 game during the season. Calhoun getting the win in that game.
Yeah, they're the 4 and MacArthur's the 5. And then
Hmm.
I think you could put this in pen that Long Beach Garden City will be battling it out again for the Nassau Beat Championship.
Yeah, that's definitely the expectation. And this would be round three if that comes to fruition. Because GC beating them the last 2 years, both by a goal.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, we covered the GC Long Beach game this year, right? The regular season game, didn't we?
No, no, not this year. We covered that last year actually at Long
Wow.
Beach. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how fast time is going by. Because
I
I
do
remember,
remember. I remember that game like it was yesterday.
yeah, because Garden City, they took it to Long Beach in that regular season game. But then again, in the county final, they played to a 1-goal game.
Oh, it was the Savo Long Beach game we covered at Long Beach this year,
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
which you're gonna see a lot out of Savo lacrosse in the next few years.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, they got some good young team, and then we go to the C's.
Yep. So the C's getting started tomorrow with Division up against Bethpage. And then in the other C game, you have Roslyn and Friends Academy.
Shout out to Mineola as the 8th seed. Great job, Jackie Jahelka, the Division II Player of the Year, has been coaching there for the last few years. I had the pleasure of interviewing one of her studleets, Caitlin Kenny, twin sister of Elizabeth Kenny, both 3-sport fabulous athletes. They made it to the states in volleyball. They made it to the second round in the playoff, the quarterfinals of the playoffs in hoops. And obviously now Mineola's in the playoffs in girls C lacrosse. Caitlin Kenny, who's decided to play basketball in college, will be going to NYU, which is the Division III women's national champs from last year, which was pretty cool.
How about that?
Learned a lot about her experiences. And then her sister, Elizabeth. It's uncanny, if you look at Elizabeth and Caitlin's stats in both lacrosse and basketball, how similar they are. In
Wow.
basketball, Caitlin averaged 14.5, Elizabeth 14.4.
Wow.
In lacrosse, Elizabeth got the upper hand, 59 points to Caitlin's 56 points.
Unbelievable.
Right? Talk about two twins. But I got to tell you something. I was so impressed with Caitlin Kenny as a young lady. If anybody gets a chance and you listen to our podcast, go to our YouTube and listen to the interview because she's a gem. Mom and Dad
Yeah.
Kenny did a great job with that one. I'm sure Elizabeth the same way. And they got a brother who plays Division I basketball.
Nice. How about that?
Pretty
Family,
cool.
a trio of athletes.
Right? It was pretty cool. But anyway, just wanted to give a little shout out to Mineola. And I mean, they're gonna have their hands full, obviously, when they have to take on Bethpage Division, and then the winner of that's got to take on the Manhasset Lady Indians, who I think are starting to gel after dealing with a few big injuries. They got a few young guns that are starting to step up for the Indians. And then you got Seaford and North Shore. Southside, don't sleep on Southside. I'm curious what's going on with Rathjen. We haven't seen her in the
She's
box before.
she's back now. She's back. She had
Ah, what's
yeah,
up?
she had a big game. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was against, but I believe she was 8-1.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Holy cow, really? 8-1? I'm looking it up. And because they only play good teams. I mean, you go 8-1 in a power conference game, that's opening some eyeballs.
It might have been against Seaford. It might have
Okay.
been.
We got to see Seaford play North Shore. That Seaford team's not an easy team to score 8 goals on.
No, and now they're literally gonna play North Shore again coming up on Saturday because we were talking about how that was the 4-5 game. So the winner of that game got the 4 seed and would host. So North Shore, they'll be going right back to Seaford this weekend.
Yes, I'm looking at Southside. They just beat Syosset on Friday.
Okay,
And
I think it was before the Syosset game.
yeah, I don't have, yeah, it is. It's the game before. I don't have the stats on that game. I got to get those stats. I'm glad we're talking about it because I do not have those stats. I'd like to see how she did in that game because she was a big loss when we got to see them play St. Anthony's earlier in the year, and she did not play in that game, and that was a huge
Yeah.
loss
Yeah, it was.
playing up against her
She,
cousin, she had a big day. Her cousin had a big day against Southside.
yeah. Yeah, Cat Rafton. Yes, she did.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm curious. And then Wanto at the bottom, we had a big win against Cold Spring on Friday.
Yeah, they beat Cold Spring 9-6. So Wantagh, they get the 2 seed going into the playoffs. And so you have a couple games where you await the results to see who the Warriors are going to be playing. So Lynbrook, they'll await the winner of Roslyn Friends Academy. And then the winner of that game will play Wantagh also coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm jacked up for the C semis.
Yeah, same here. You're looking at Manhasset most likely against either Seaford or North Shore, and then most likely a Wantagh Southside semifinal in the other bracket.
Yeah. Wanto Southside's going to be a great game.
Yeah, well, they played, I believe when they played during the season, I think that was a 13-6 or 13-7 game in favor of Wantagh. But like when you look at those teams, at least me personally, like I don't look at them as like a 6 or 7 goal difference. So like I
Did
would not,
Rafton play in that game? Because Southside's had some injuries this year. They lost Testa for the year.
I know, that's true too. But that game was very early in the season. Raston,
Right.
she did play in that game.
Interesting. That's another good win for Wanta. Yeah. Wanta boys and girls making big noise this year, huh?
Yeah, big time. And
We didn't
by the
talk
way,
about.
that was we'll have to put the stats in, but that was 8-1 against Seaford for
Okay.
Rafton. Can confirm.
I need the Syosset stats and I need the Seaford stats. I'll do my research after we hang up on this podcast. Let's look at the D's. Let's look at the Lady Seahawks, who we're going to get to see in their last regular season game today, where they have an opportunity, the Lady Seahawks, coached by Daniel Castellon, to knock off the #1 team in the country. You talk about
That
having an opportunity,
that would
right?
be that would be something. That would be unreal if they pulled off this upset. That that would be something. I would love to see if this happened. I would love to like interview someone like after the season. Like let's say Cold Spring Harbor won the state championship. I would love to get some insight. What was the bigger feeling? Beating St. A's or winning the states? Because
Yeah.
beating a team like St. A's, it's like I mean that's like almost the equivalent of winning a state championship.
Well, yeah, because right now they're #1 in the country. So I think it's
Yeah,
bigger. I think it's bigger.
yeah,
I think it's bigger. And I'm very curious because I caught a little bit of the Manhasset St. Anthony game, and I thought St. Anthony's looked flat, in my opinion. They didn't look they didn't look like, I don't know, they just didn't look like into it.
hmm
And I'm very curious to see how they, because we're gonna get to see them live today. I'm curious to see if they're into it. What's their emotion? Because their emotions, I'm watching it on a TV, but they just didn't seem into it on what was it, Friday or Saturday night? It
Saturday.
was Saturday afternoon.
Hmm
We had our wires crossed. We were trying to get to a game, and
Yeah.
people are changing schedules on
That,
us.
that was unfortunate. But we
We had a
made
great lunch. Thank you for lunch, Ellis.
yeah, you can thank some certain individuals. Not gonna say names on here. Not gonna name drop. 'Cause then they'll be mad at me. But we can tell
Anyway,
them
Cold Spring and the D's.
we
All
can
right,
tell
you
them
heard it
that.
here. Cold Spring Harbor will be playing in the state championship on June 9th in the semifinals at Cortland, New York.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, that's it. Their eyes on the state championship.
That's right. After they knock off St. Anthony's, right?
We'll see. We shall see.
We will see at 5 o'clock today at 271 Wolf Hill Road.
That's right.
5 p.m. sharp, baby. Don't be late. Don't be late. Don't have that bus late because we'll be there ready to go.
No, they're buttoned up. They won't be late.
Okay, good. All right, so now we move on. What are we moving to, boys?
Yep, moving over to the boys now. So back to Class A for Nassau boys.
Can I
And
give a shout out to one of my favorite coaches in all of
sure,
lacrosse?
sure.
Okay, Coach Hungerford. He retired this year and he moved to San Diego with his beautiful wife. And Coach Eric Dunn, who's been coaching the defense there for a bunch of years, had to take over the program as the head coach. And he has done an absolutely magnificent job. Obviously, it's just regular season. He still has to go through the playoffs and knock off some of the, heavy hitters like Port and the winner of the Syosset Manhasset game. No disrespect to the other teams in the quarters, but we all know the teams in the power conferences are, a little bit above the others. But we were lucky enough to see that Pequot Daler game. The Dalers just, they looked sharp.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's probably about as well as they had played all season.
Yeah, that's what Coach Dunn told us after the game. That was their best game. And then
Yep.
they just beat Cold Spring 10-6.
hmm
So that was a good win for the program. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Dunn because Coach Dunn, Eric Dunn, has done a great job. And he's the 1 seed. So, I mean, you got to work hard to be the 1 seed. And Port Wash, and Oceanside will be the 4-5. He gets the Plainview Hawks. The Dalers got the Hawks.
Yeah. Yep, that's their first playoff game coming up on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
They got
don't
some good young
overlook.
kids on the Dalers. I saw some good young kids. We'll be talking about them during the playoffs. But the Braves got Herricks and
Mhm.
Pequa's got Hicksville. And then I think this is so chalk. It's 1-4, 2-3. And
Yep.
then I think it's up in the air between Syosset and Pequa. And I think
Yeah,
it's even up in the air with Port and Farmingdale because I think Port's got some dudes.
yeah, the semis is where that's where things could not go chalk and you get some like I put air quotes around upset because it's like that can go either way. And if you look at the way it's gone the last 3 years, so like you had Scio winning the counties in 21, 22 you had Port, 20 23 you had the Dalers. So does that mean Peak was supposed to win it this year? I don't know. But the point is that those four teams, it wouldn't be a shock whichever two teams win those games. It wouldn't be surprising because those teams they match up against each other all pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. This is not a chalk uh, bracket. I'm not saying it doesn't end up chalk, but it's not a gimme.
Right. That's kind of where essentially the seeds kind of go out the window, in all honesty, once you get to the semis.
Yeah, I
Like
agree with you.
what
I
difference does it make? Who's one, who's two, who's three, who's four?
Yeah. Well, let's hope that the crowds in Hofstra are big for these teams because we're looking forward to covering them.
Yeah, totally.
When we go to B's, this is where for the first year in
Yeah.
many years, Manhasset's moved up, and
Yeah,
Southside.
this gets juicy.
This is the part. Southside, I think in the history of Southside lacrosse was the first time they beat Manhasset and Garden City in the same year.
Yes, that's correct.
And Garden City's 2, Southside's obviously 1, Manhasset's 3, Calhoun 4, Cary 5, Roslyn 6. We got what Mepham 7, uh, LB or MacArthur's 8, right?
Yeah, Long Beach is I believe Long Beach is the higher seed against MacArthur.
Okay, so LB's 8, MacArthur's 9, and is that New Hyde Park 10?
Yeah, New Hyde Park against Mepham.
Yeah, so those guys have the pleasure of the playing game, which is tomorrow, and then they get the 1 and the 2 seed. Um, I got to tell you something. How cool is it that Manhasset and Garden City most likely will be playing in the semifinals?
Oh, that is crazy. I mean, it's the first time that they'll be playing in the playoffs dating back to 2019. And the fact that it's not even for a county title, it's just to get to the county final. Like, when's the last time that's happened? Like, I don't even know.
I don't know if it ever has happened.
Yeah, it may not have. Like, I
Uh,
truthfully don't know.
a little history lesson. I'll have to do a little history work on that. Manhasset against GC in the playoffs. Has it ever happened not in the finals? That's the
Right.
question. That's a good question for social media to ask, because there's some people on Long Island that have, been around. I'm not originally from Long Island, so I don't know back into the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. I moved here in 91. I have not, I don't think I've seen it since I've been going to the games since the early 90s. I've seen them playing the finals.
Yeah, the county final for sure.
I just don't know if they've ever played in the semifinals. Now, Southside knocking off one of those two teams twice in the same year. Now, Southside's championship in 2004, I'm going to have to go back and see who they beat to get there. Because at that time, Manhasset was a C. So they probably knocked off Garden City. Or
Probably.
that those years they had MacArthur had really good teams because Scotty Rogers and Tintle were on the MacArthur teams. They might have beat them, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. I got to go back and do some research, and I'll go back to the archives and look. But Southside's got their basically, May
Yeah, that's
24th, Friday, May 24th. That's their opportunity.
yeah, see that's where getting the one seed in B's is a huge deal
It
because now
is.
you only have to beat one of those two teams.
Yeah, because he could rest a kid if a kid's banged up.
Right.
You can't
Yep.
rest the starter in the Manhasset GC game.
Yeah. Now
You're
let's
resting
not.
him for possibly no tomorrow.
Yeah. Now let's see. Let's see what happens in the Cary versus Calhoun game, because assuming Southside obviously gets to the semis, remember Calhoun, they knocked out Southside last year in the playoffs in the semi.
Ah, that's right. The Pete
So
Tolman and my boys. By the way, shout out to some Calhoun kids. Peter Tholman had a great year this year at North Carolina,
yes,
arguably the best LSM on Long Island last year. And I was watching the Towson Cuse game last night, and Alex Vianney got some burn.
nice.
Yeah, it was cool to see him out there as I'm talking to my television set at 9 o'clock at night. But I was very happy for him because he's a nice young man, and that really good Calhoun team that you're talking about, that was that group.
Hmm.
But anyway, and a little tidbit for people who don't know, the little fun fact: Carrie's coached by Tommy Aiello, and the star of Southside is Michael Aiello, his
Yeah,
son.
that is true.
So if he
Yup.
knocks off Calhoun, he's got to beat his son and knock him out of the state
Yeah,
championship.
yeah. Yup.
Tommy's a great guy, but I don't think he wants to do that to his kid, does he? A little competition. Mikey's been great. Mikey's had a great year heading to Skidmore. He's been awesome. But anyway, that's cool. That's the B's, right? And we go to the C's. You want to talk about chalk?
Yeah, C's, you're looking at those guys in the background of this bracket. It's theirs to lose, is it not?
Oh, dude, Wantor is buzzing.
Yeah, this they could win if they can get off the island now, they can they can win the whole thing. But
Well,
the
they're going to still have to
LIC,
beat Janesville DeWitt, so don't disrespect my Cuse boys. Janesville DeWitt's
uh,
legit. They've had a couple losses this year. I'm very close with the head coach there, and two,
okay.
two, two losses that have irked him. He lost to Victor by a goal, and Marcellus, who's the D runner-up last year to Cold Spring, who has everybody back. Um, but getting off the island's not going to be easy. Getting out of
No,
Nassau County might be a lot easier than getting off the island.
yeah. And we'll see what the LIC would be, because in Suffolk you like Bayport as the one, like they would be the favorites, but it'd be way less surprising if Bayport was not there as opposed to Wantagh not being there.
Yeah, well, yeah, Wantor's there. Seaford's, trust me, Seaford's not. Nobody's going to give them it. They're not giving the championship to Wantor yet, but it's
No,
definitely Wantor's to lose.
right. But if you get a Wantagh Bayport LIC, we did get that during the season. I believe that was it might have been game one or game two for each of those teams. And that was an 8-7 game. Bayport won that game 8-7. So you would expect a similar type of outcome, just in terms of it being a really close and competitive game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. That's a game that I want to see, and we're gonna be covering the LICs, which is a midweek thing this year. It's on May 29th. Two of the games are at Longwood, and two of the games at Hofstra. Um, but
Yeah, we'll look to have our teams
at both,
covering. Yeah,
we'll be at both. We'll,
covering.
we'll have LILJ at both of those. That's gonna be fun. We go to the D's. Friends Academy and Oyster Bay have the pleasure of battling it out. Coach Soper's 10-man ride at Oyster Bay High School, and then you get to battle the Dennis Bond six state championship Seahawks, who
Yep,
have been in my opinion mediocre this year.
the reigning back-to-back state champs. Um, a little cracks in the armor a little bit this season, but they'll be, of course, waiting the winner of Friends Oyster Bay, and we'll have to see how that plays out with Cold Spring. Assuming they get to the LIC, and then they would play the winner of Babylon against Mattatuck. But I know Coach Wink, like some of those teams from off the island, like we talked about last year when they had to play Pleasantville in the semis to beat them. And I know you've said in the past, like you could argue just off the top of your head, that might have been Coach Bond's best win with with the group that he had last year, knocking off Pleasantville. But
Yeah,
gonna be tough this year.
yeah. Pleasantville beat Shoreham, I believe, this year.
They did. That's right.
Yeah, Pleasantville's really good, and the team they beat in the in the state championship, Marshallese, has everybody back who beat JD. So, Coach Bond, I'm telling you right now, if Coach Bond somehow wins a state championship this year, I'm going to find somebody in Cold Spring Harbor to build a statue of Coach Bond yelling at my son in 2006. It'll just be a statue of him doing a great job motivating his team, because he'll deserve one after that one. But it's you never could count the Seahawks out when Bond's at the helm.
No, not at all. I mean, you could argue he already should have a statue up in Cold Spring,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
winning 6 state championships.
It would be cool though. I know you plan on being up in Albany, so you're hoping that for those guys out there that are listening to this, it's our favorite time of the year when we get to the States, because it's the only time that we can root for our teams, because it's Long Island against the rest. So that's when Ellis and myself can root for whatever Long Island team gets off the island. And, the girls up at Cortland, you get the semis and the finals, hopefully. And the boys, you get Albany and then down to Hofstra. So we like that, because we're covering the game just like we always cover the game, but we're can root because it's just one Long Island team against usually an upstate team.
That's when we rip off the LILJ gear and whatever Long Island team is playing, we're throwing on their gear.
I like it. I think that should be you started a new tradition, that what we do is when the team makes it off the island, they send Ellis, and Ellis is a schmedium, just in case you're wondering his size, and he loves hats, as you can tell, we both wear them. That's when you get him the gear from whatever school wins the LIC, and then he'll sport that. He'll have to still wear his media tag so he can be on the sideline, but
Yeah,
he'll sport the Bayport gear. I guarantee you at Cortland they'll throw you off, because remember they try to throw us off anyway the first year.
yeah, I know. Well, they tried. They didn't try to throw me off last year. They tried to they were trying to make sure I wasn't live streaming, which I wasn't. But that's why I couldn't go live during like the overtime game, for example, with Pequa and Fairport in the state championship. Like I couldn't go live because if I did, I would have gotten the boot.
Well, if it's the last game of the weekend, maybe you can go live, because what are they going to do? Throw you out for the next
Yeah,
game?
there's nothing to lose, I guess.
I don't know. People get too caught up in
They,
things that aren't important. At the end of the day, if everybody's promoting the kids and the kids are getting more, more kudos, it's all good. It's all good, right?
yeah, they just don't like us giving out t-shirts either. That's another story though for another day.
Yeah, that's BS. Kids love our t-shirts. By the way, shout out to East Fitness and Gate for promoting the kids and helping us promote the kids on the island.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah, we did cover Nassau and Suffolk, boys and girls, A through D.
Yep. Parochial. The only thing left is the state championships, which we'll talk about once they're all set up and everything. And then on the girls' side, we got tonight. There's the championship, St. John the Baptist and Mercy. You'll see that on the website. I was talking to coach of St. John the Baptist, Janine Perone. She's got a big one against Mercy. And Sacred Heart and St. Anthony's go at it for the second time Thursday. And then their championship starts Monday, I think, for the semis, and then the following Wednesday for the finals or something like that.
Yeah, either Wednesday or I believe it might be Thursday.
So it's Monday, Thursday?
I believe so. But yeah, that would wrap up the parochials. And shout out to the St. A boys beating Chaminade last week. So
yeah, we were there for that one. That was a good win, and they ended up. I like the way they do it. They just play two. If one team wins two, they don't play the third. I think that's the way you should do it. You don't need to play each other 3 times to prove anything.
Hmm.
You win twice, it's done. But
Yep.
whatever the reason is, they do the things they do. We're just here to promote it.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, I appreciate, Ellis, you getting these beautiful graphics out to the public. They're all on social too, right?
Yep, they are all on social.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for the artwork or the posting. That's our creative team. But but yes, all the brackets are on social.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure the teams that advanced, we advance them, and then we could do like maybe a moving on graphic once a week because there's so many games. I think that's what we should do, and maybe add that and go from there. But for now, I guess we'll say goodbye to the public and see everybody on the fields, right?
Yeah, so that'll do it for this week's edition of Weekly Crossbar, parts 1 and 2, going up on YouTube shortly. But just want to thank everyone that tuned in, and we'll talk to you on the other side.